In 1992, two guys from West Virginia started a punk band. They're not from Los Angeles, they're not from New York, but they're part of something really huge. They're from West Virginia. And I think over the last 3 decades, they would become probably my personal favorite. And I feel like these guys are the best horror punk band of all time. Yes, even better than Misfits. They'll ride on me. They would release album after album. They would tour America, world tour Europe, especially Europe, play for the massive crowds, and would play Disappear. They disappear, break up, and they come back. And that's what make BLITZKID really good. And I think BLITZKID is one of the best bands of all time. And they would come back. This would make part of BLITZKID something very special. They didn't just play their old songs, they started building new chats. 2006, they're still here, new era, there's one tour, there's a massive tour. I already had the album pre-ordered. It was the day the album was coming out. I'm like, okay, the album's coming out today. I set 3 alarms. My dad runs into the store. The store is lagging. And I was able to get the album from Chrome. And I promise you I will reveal that album when it arrives. On September 30th. The day I get it. I'll definitely show the album and everything. And definitely make a full-length hour-long video about that. And also I might do a live stream, but hey, if you don't know what BLITZKID is, you're in the right place. I'll tell you everything about the band, how they came to be, and it all began in 1997. Here the figure of is TB Monster shown in R.G. Gulski. Right away, it's really cute. They have pretty clear ingredients. Punk rock, horror, and old movies. And the love for music kind of exceeding out of mainstream. Horror punk was not new fun. The Misfits or created blueprints. But who cares about the Misfits, really? But BLITZKID simply recreated in the 7th. There came the internet began discovering the music, and BLITZKID became one of the parts, of my opinion, of why horror punk is how good it could be now, with so many great bands that can play horror punk. And in my opinion, they should be interested by now. Like, come on, Halloween Horror Nights. Give us it. But they're probably one of the few bands who actually made it in horror punk. Trust me, there's lots of bands who tried. But they're one of the many bands who actually have. And before the record, before the comeback, it all started. And that cylinder was West Virginia. The earliest BLITZKID material that you can find on the internet is BLITZKID and much before the band shows, once we recognized them, it wasn't polished, they were still figuring out what they were. The album was called Songs for the Aesthetically Challenged. Reportedly, the earlier periods, this wasn't a band really know what they were becoming. They had certain songs, which, yeah, they were pretty much really like what they were going to become, like Slaughter the Saw Cop. But then they had songs like I Can't Skate, which definitely, in my opinion, did not fit their vibe. And yes, I did listen to I Can't Skate. And over time, they combined the trademark to one thing. BLITZKID was becoming horror punk. They wanted to actually become remembered, and they would become the band's greatest strength. And more than discovery continued, because BLITZKID was just getting started. Their second album, which I don't know, and in the comments, I would like to know in the comments, is Revisit an album or is it singles? Because all of these songs are old singles, but then it's also classified as an album by BLITZKID. So, what do y'all think? I would like to know. The next country visit. The name is kind of interesting. It looks up Believe BLITZKID, early changes to chance, rough edges becoming more defined, and the songwriting got stronger. The band potentially came clear, and in my opinion, the horror element, the chord, and more of BLITZKID's world we lived in. That's unfortunate, because plenty of where horrors build around music, and they could just sound like punk rock, but the atmosphere of horror movies, and well, for me personally, I'm a huge fan of horror. I'm gonna try doing the Michael Myers challenge soon, but I would say they were this atmosphere of horror movies balance it, in my opinion. Some of these actually had really good hits, and this band took a nice step forward into the dark. If you know BLITZKID figuring himself out, Terrifying Tales is where BLITZKID became BLITZKID, okay? If you've never heard Terrifying Tales, you've never heard of BLITZKID before. Terrifying Tales is identified. This is not horror punk. This is punk with a skull on the cover. Not just the lyrics about monsters, the entire atmosphere. Okay? The songs are just so good. And the band started understanding the type of music they wanted to make. At this point, BLITZKID was less so a local underground project and a real band going. And I wish I could, this album, I could make 10 videos about this. Every single song. A lot of the songs on this album became something about us. Pretty in the Casket, The Halloween, My Bloody Valentines, Teenage, Neck Pullers, Nosferatu in Love. These albums are just these songs. I might make a whole video about this. I can and I probably will. Because this is just so good. And before you say I'm glazing it, if you actually listen to this is easily top 3. Let's get, and it's not number 3, it's number 2. There's only, I think, one more better album. Don't judge. Well, Let Flowers Die. This is where the story kind of getting serious, though. But at this point, BLITZKID has developed their sound, the guitars are maker, and basically the guitars get faster, the lyrics are faster, the lyrics are dark, and in my opinion, they made a lot of good songs in here. This wasn't simply what's making our horror punk out. It was BLITZKID didn't their matter, and especially when BLITZKID stopped discovering because BLITZKID discovered because they like BLITZKID. This is the point where underground bands reach something. This is where BLITZKID started becoming popular, and this is where BLITZKID started becoming their own band. And Let Flowers Die kind of moved BLITZKID forward to the purpose. Trace a Stranger. Then we get the Trace a Stranger. This is the biggest step from BLITZKID becoming an unknown. It kind of went like here, then we got here, then we got here, then we got this is where Let Flower died. This is where Trace a Stranger put them. This is where they were at their prime. Songwriting was developed. They're stronger. This is where BLITZKID knew they were still gonna be horror. They were still gonna be punk. So many. This I can make a full series about all these songs. Okay, I said this all about Terrifying Tales, but seriously though, some of these songs are so good. Loop into She Dominate, Making a Monster, She Wolf, Let Flowers Die, Love Like Blood. It's just probably BLITZKID's #1 best album, and you don't have to be even like, you don't have to likes. You can just like punk and be like, She Dominates is a great song, and underrated skill because BLITZKID horror imagine disappears. The music still has to work, but BLITZKID understood that. 5 Cellars below. The album I actually own. I got very lucky. Definitely. You get 5 stars below. But 5 stars below, now BLITZKID was already... Now, this is where BLITZKID started becoming a band more than something. Yeah, but this is where they started building a reputation. Some of these songs... Yes, this is where... After Trace of Strange, after Big Pop, this is where they start building off of Trace of Strange. And I think they did a really good job with building off of Trace of Stranger. With songs like Dementia, Mary and the Storm, Lady in the Lake, Demon Machine. All of these on this one single CD. Which I feel like kind of sums up what this album was, and I feel like can. Which, in my opinion, one of the best pieces of media of all time. I definitely got lucky getting this album, though. But in 2006, they were about to play over 260 shows. Think about it, they took 100 days off. 260 not typo, that's the same number of shows. You all had to sit around waiting for the radio station, discover they want people, they play, they drum, they play again, cross state lines, eventually cross Atlanta. And, well, in my opinion, this is probably one of their best albums. I got this from eBay. The eBay seller gave me for like $30 a day. He's only for $30. I got it. Look at that. Please make a revamp of this. I would buy this again on vinyl. Please make a revamp. I don't know if you're all done with those, but if you can, I would definitely love the revamp. But to the next one. Next up, their first compilation, I would say. Animal for Your Majesty. I can't say the title, but it's an important point in BLITZKID's story. It's where they kind of revamped, because if you listen to some of their earlier work, this was made in 2009, okay? But if you listen to like the early work, like listen to 5 Stars Blood, that sounds clean, but if you listen to Almost say something, like, let's say revamp, like songs like I'm a Zombie, you could definitely tell there is a huge difference of quality. But in my opinion, I hope they make a second volume one day. They said one time in an interview if they ever did make a second one. But that basically when they did all Hallows streams, that was they're saying, hey, this is our second volume. And they weren't afraid to change things. The theme was definitely much later. But BLITZKID eventually started struggling, and they would reanimate themselves. And in my opinion, that's what this album did. And I think it's a personal, great compilation. I like it. I think fans liked it. I think they were all good on this one. Now, the final complete album, not revamps. We're not talking about covers. I don't know why my room just got so dark, now it's orange. This looks cool. It looks definitely weirder in person than how it is, but I'm gonna talk like this. Then we got Appeal, though. At this point, BLITZKID came with internationally known to horror punk act. They are the biggest at that point. This is where BLITZKID was at their most. This album was one of the favorite places where they were wider than the punk. Four members, the Doyle, Wolfgang, Von Frankenstein, and Mr. Sander. I don't know who that is, but I think it's Mr. Sander because that's gonna be the history. But BLITZKID was basically doing me really good in this album. Because, you missed the point, BLITZKID had their own character, their own audience, their own touring. But the weird thing about this album is TB did not appear in this album. And, in my opinion, he parted ways in early 2011, shortly before the album was finalized release. This part Appeal releases a different lineup, and Arjigulski carries the voice. There's more solos. Loss of TB kind of ruined the vibe of this album. I personally love a lot of songs by TB. I think TB could have done great if the album wasn't just sung by Arjigulski. And Arjigulski, I'm not saying he's the best singer. He's actually one of the best of all time. He is, I'm not gonna lie, I might glaze him for a bit. He's really good. But TV, man, TV always balances it out, and I feel like that's what ruined this album for me. No TV. That's like if they had a TV only album, I feel like, if no RG, I feel like that would ruin it for me too. And more of a footnote was a bigger story. At this point, BLITZKID was doing what's most important, becoming an international band. But now let's talk about it. But now, because BLITZKID is the most important thing in the story, in 2006, 260 career dates, then European was really important. In 2007, they played the Summer Breeze Open Air in Germany. The festival, who reported, had 40,000 people. Think about that. A band from Bluefield, West Virginia, playing in front of 1,000 people in Germany? It's up there. They supported Damned in the Pledge. They played Mariluna. They became legit underground legends. And the band, don't forget, Funk. You don't need a billboard. And you can easily see it one time per show. Yeah. That's gonna end it. But then eventually the road came to an end. 2011 TV announced he was leaving right before Appeal. But by 2020, BLITZKID broke up. After 15 years, it was over. No giant mainstream collapse. No huge thing. It was. It was one day, oh yeah, we're here. And the next day, they're back to their Graves tour. I think that was called. I don't know why I got so dark in there. I'm being dead serious. I have a storm and there's a storm going on. So I don't know. Perfect idea for this video. In 2012, Noah announced the return to the Living Tour, a farewell tour, later reformed in 2020. But the tour was pretty good. And people changed, priorities changed, the band changed. And I feel like, for fans, didn't extend. Well, short coverage, TV and BLITZKID didn't really come back for a while. You could still hear their sound. If you want to know, I might make a whole R.G. Gulski did a bunch of solo projects. I don't know if he did this during the Misfits. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But I think he once worked for Misfits. But yeah, he worked in a lot of solo projects. So, in my opinion, that's actually pretty dope. I think the band he was in, he also made his own band. He worked in the Roving Midnights. He had his own band called the Roving Midnights. He actually did work on his own band called Silent in the Silent Horror. That's Lost Media. And Silence Horror, the band. I wish I owned that, man. I've been looking for that forever. Yo, tell me if any of you have the self-titled Silence Horror album. Please tell me. Because I will pay really good money for that album. If you own it. If you do, we can talk numbers. Because it's the only album with R.G. Gulski on it. Oh, wait, there's one on for 300? And he kind of did a lot of solo projects, which was pretty cool. I didn't think of this. After they broke up, he worked on The Crypt Keeper 5 and Beautiful Cry in 2011. Zombie Skeleton Love Like Strangle in 2014. Big Bats and self-title 2014. Prophecy, A Century of Cursed Time. The Fright, Rising Beyond. Blood-sucking zombies from outer space / bloody horror Xmas. Mr. Monster in the end of October. And 2018, he worked on Mascot and Bad Brew. That's a mouthful. And I didn't even know that personally. That's all really. That's all I know. Sadly, I wish I knew more. But and TV editing to some slow flash. I don't know much about TV than Archie Golsky. These parts look over years the band was active because the band disappeared. Didn't really stop. People was not listening to them. Young musicians didn't hear the record. New horror band and BLITZKID kept in fear. One of a thing, underground music in it, with everything. Teenagers discovered it after 20 years after. How did hell did not get to this? Blake survived. Then, in 2020, one of the greatest years of all time. No, it was absolute dog crap. But this definitely helped 2020, in my opinion. For me personally, there was a great. Oh my god! I'm sorry, the power keeps going out. The people finally got to see discovering BLITZKID Broken Up Opportunity 2. But in the reunion, the audience has gone older. New audience listening to it. The people who were born there. And the cool thing is, though, I did not get to see them. Well, my dad too. So my dad got. So I was like 8, and my dad was like, I asked if I can go with him. He was like, no, I'm a little too young. Because I was like 8 at the time, and he was going to BLITZKID. But he did give me something, and I'm actually going to see them with their Modern Hallows tour. I'll talk a lot about that in a bit. Look at this. The cool thing is, the TV signed his autograph with his head. So this is really dope, and it's probably one of my proudest possessions of all time. I'm really happy I own this. I'm definitely gonna have my future house. Just imagine, I have 10 kids. My grandson walks in a room, he looks at the BLITZKID poster, he's like, what the hell is that? And be like, son, that's one of the greatest things you should know. I will be a proud grandpa. And the revamps. And this is where the revamps are important because BLITZKID didn't just return, nothing happened. They started their own reasoning, their own history. And here's away old songs, old recordings, and I think this is really probably cool. They made just revamps. And I personally love them. They made 3. Terrifying Tales. Let Flowers Die and Trade with Strangers. There's one for sale on eBay. And you'll hang out buy. I don't care. I'm just waiting. If they still have it during May, when my birthday rolls around, definitely buying. But different equipment, different experience, and this is something years ago. With Complete Eyes, this is where older materials and simply not nostalgia is going to be a new BLITZKID. And what the heck? I'm so sorry for this. But the idea, the important with the next release. Game of Hallows streams. 1. Yes, BLITZKID got their experience captured. If you've never seen this, I don't blame you. This is actually really cool. In my opinion, I don't own this. My dad copy. My dad got this for himself in 2021. He's probably getting it signed one day. But so this is how the band signed. It was a snapshot. The band, in my opinion, this was a really cool. In my opinion, I watched it actually a few times. Looks cool art. I need to put this back. My dad kills me. But now we got the second one. The first one is because they canceled their tour twice. And then the second one, the first one was a bunch of their more popular ones. Like remember that Apparitional Reincarnation. This one is more of the songs that they just want to revamp. Because if you can tell, like on the first one, there's a clear difference, okay? The first one had like Murder in a Pumpkin Patch, Lupin Tooth, Freddy Cassett, These Wise, Love Like Blood, Terror in a Haunted House, She Dominates. Those really popular songs. But this one had Myers 31, Lady in the Lake, Add Mortality, I'm a Zombie, Body Snatchers, Modern Hell, Molten Hell. I would say Modern Hell. That'd be funny. This one I actually like both of them. I prefer the first one, but the second one I'm pretty dope with. They're both really cool. My dad's person got me into BLITZKID, but now we're at the new year. This is where BLITZKID stops becoming history, because we're in 2026. And guess what? We're entering the modern era. Don't age itself. It's album, it ends an album decade ago. But they're flirting with it now, because BLITZKID survived enough. Like also modern. It's sufficiently the CD area, the internet area, my stream area, the streaming area, the comeback, the modern hell area. It's simply modern hell. In my opinion, the albums here, I personally pre-ordered it. I already told you all this, but like when pre-order first came live, I'm like, oh, I need to get this. If you haven't heard it, it's already live. It's on YouTube. I'll leave a link to their website and the YouTube video. I recommend listening to it. The song is really good. And this is a 30-minute video. But then, A Corpse Without a Noun, the Noun Samar Helto, and Holy, I can't say that, or else I'll get banned. I already kind of threatened by YouTube that they won't ever pay me. And first one. And first, like, alone. 41 dates. 41 dates. And guess what? Honestly, your brutal tour schedule, and honestly, makes sense. I'm seeing them in Georgia. Because my dad, Chris, I told you a lot. And I'm gonna meet them more. Me, RG, Cool Skill Live. Make some videos about that. Remember Europe, all those tears are dry. Not doing it again. The decline. Get to the van. Meet the fans. Do it again tomorrow. So, who the modern BLITZKID fans? So they're really cool. Looking at another generation who, and in my opinion, BLITZKID's just a great band. And so what happens next? The big question is after this, what will BLITZKID do next? They continue touring, more music, more albums. What we want to see, definitely want to see if BLITZKID can't, and let's go back. 1997, Buford, Bluefield, West Virginia. Songs for Acoustic Challenge, the beginning. Revamp, the Benjamin, Terrifying Tales, the horror, Identifying Getting Stronger, Let's Run, Strong Riding Growing, The Sound, Chase of Stranger, The Peak, 5 Stars Below, the seriously touring focus, Animal of Reanimation. BLITZKID style looking at their own past. Appeal. The band reaching evolution. And warning shadows. And they're staying out of their coffins. And then you got thousands of punk bands. Multitudes appear. What a great album. Some gets famous. So they change me. They change everything. And the band said in the logo, BLITZKID still touring, still playing, still making noise, still terrifying people, still writing songs, still BLITZKID. Thank you for watching this. It means a lot to me. Like and subscribe if you actually watch the entirety of this 30-minute video. I'm definitely grateful. Thank you. Long live horror.